So Friday night, waiting for steak to rest. It's been a long time since I made a video. Been drinking a ton of Finger Lake wine and was just down in Cape May. And gosh, there's 3 cases of wine upstairs, but really the highlight is this Sangiovese 2020 from Turdo. I know it says Tourist, but Turdo Vineyards, Turdo Winery. This is their Tourist Sangiovese. It is nothing short of incredible. If I didn't know any better, I think I was drinking Chianti Classico Reserva, Chianti Classico Gran Sezione, something really high. And now it is nearly $40 now. I think when I first started buying this, it was feel like 28. Now it's gone up to 39. Sad story is that they've sold the winery to new owners, and we'll see if they continue making the high quality wine that they were at Cape May in this vineyard. I believe this winery is probably one of the top 3 wineries, and certainly in contention for the top winery in New Jersey, just for how phenomenal the wines. They even make a Nebbiolo, and they do it like Barolo, where it's in cask 3 years, 2 years, like 5 years before you can even get it. Got 2 of those. Are definitely on the pricier side, but amazing stuff. Their Bordeaux blend is amazing. Their rosé is pretty solid. I'm sure their whites are good, but their Sangio and Bordeaux are so good that I just want more of the Sangio more than anything. The wine I'm having tonight with steak is Chateau Cantemerle, and this is 2018. It's a left bank, mostly cab. It's cab heavy, 13.5%. 2018 being a pretty good vintage out of the left bank. Actually, a very good vintage. 2020 is becoming a very great vintage, pretty much in a lot of places. Certainly Finger Lakes, New Jersey. This looks like Bordeaux as well. This Chateau Cantemerle, I think I talked about in the past, is sort of my new Pontet Canet. Pontet Canet prices are now 100 plus. When I first was buying it was like 40, 50. This is even less. This is like 30s, I think. From where I can get it. I think it's typically 50, but still, it's a 5th growth. I think it absolutely over-delivers for price. I feel like it's a really great wine, and I believe if I'm going to buy a case of a red soon, it might be the 2020 Cantemerle to have sort of like a weekday pour. I've been buying this Riesling. The 2020 Riesling out of the Finger Lakes have been amazing. I know I'm going all over the place, but there's one called Timeline Dry or something by Standing Stone's Vineyard. It's from a vineyard planted in 1973. It's 2020 Riesling. It's dry. It might have a touch of residual sugar, but I think it's just the roundness and the ripeness of the Riesling that makes it taste less acidic and more voluptuous in the mouth. But it's amazing. It's delicious. I can't get enough of it. The alcohol is low. I could finish a bottle and not really feel it over numerous hours, but a delicious wine nonetheless. That I bought a case, went through it pretty quickly. I'm buying another case. When those 2020s are gone out of the Finger Lakes, I will most definitely be sad and looking for another great vintage up there. Seems like the ripe vintages up there cut a little of that acidity. There's some bracing acidity up in the Finger Lakes. When they have a little bit of a riper, drier vintage, I think it softens that acidity a little bit in a good way. In a good way. You don't want to get rid of acidity totally. You need acidity in wine. So this has cedar tobacco, cassis. There's no Brett. Been getting some Brett in some wines recently. What wine did I have recently? And it had Brett in it. It blew off a little bit, but it was pretty pungent at first. Oh, it was a Von Marmigny Pinot Noir 2015. I don't have the name of it offhand, but it had a lot of Brett on it. The wine was big for a Pinot too. Very different stylistically than I'm used to out of Burgundy. Gosh, I'm all over the place. Burgundy, Finger Lakes, New Jersey, Bordeaux. This is just going to go great with steak. Yeah, still can go a mile. Tannins are there. Good acidity. It's not heavy. Not overly heavy. Probably more medium plus bodied. Tannins are softening already. It's an 18. So 5 years. They're softening a little bit already. Dry though, but it sounds silly, but drier. There's a sour cherry component here that's keeping it dry. See, my mouth is watering. There's acidity here for sure. A little bit of sour cherry, a little cranberry. So with that cassis, that dark berry, it's got a little bit of that sour cherry and cranberry for sure here. Great wine. I really like this wine. I think as this wine opens up too, it becomes infinitely better. I said that for a lot of reds. The Sangio, I only have this much left from last night, and I kind of popped and poured it. I think this, yeah, I mean, it smells like maple syrup, which is crazy. It might have just been bottled up and rushed to the top of the glass. But when I have a glass of that later with some cheese possibly, it'll be interesting because that's already had a good amount of oxygen hit it. This is in a decanter here, so I believe as I'm eating the steak and as the night progresses, this wine will get better, softened, tannins will get softer, more things will come out of the glass. Yeah, I think I remember this being a touch riper. Maybe it was like I had the 19, it was very young, very astringent, not really ready. This is definitely more ready to drink, but definitely with a decant. So this needs a longer decant. So, I mean, if I'm rating wines here, say this is a 5. 5 out of 5. This is, right this moment, a 4. I bet it goes to a 4.5 as it evolves over the night. So let's just say 4.5. And I really like this Chateau. Alternative to Cabernet, much less expensive, although I'm getting it from a purveyor out in California, J.J. Buckley, so I do get a different price than seeing it on the shelf in, say, Pennsylvania, where I have seen it, and it was, I think, $50. So, big difference to pay $50 versus, I think, $28, $27, something along those lines. For my 50th birthday, which isn't a bunch of years, I've been debating on some big wines, some monumental wines for me to try, to drink, to enjoy that night. I have a Pontet Canet 2009 that's absolutely going to be on the list. It was a 100-point wine. The wine's unaffordable now. I think it's almost like $400. And by another 3 years from now, at a decent amount of age, still probably not even nearly enough, but I will decant it for a good hour before even opening it. Scarecrow, my 2019 Scarecrow, Napa Cab, Cult Cab, out of Rutherford. Absolutely way too young to be drinking that in 3 years, but don't care. Gonna open it. And then I was debating on, I have a few other wines in my fridge, but they don't kind of go along this theme of a Cabernet here. So I have a Napa, I have a Bordeaux, but then I was thinking I've never had a whole bottle. What is something I would want off my bucket list? I've never had a whole bottle of First Growth Bordeaux. I've had Haut-Brion 2005 at a wine tasting. Tiny sip. It was great. I believe I've had another one before, but I can't remember. So I looked at all the First Growths, and I was pontificating which one I wanted. And I said, I do love Pauillac. The Pontet Canet is from Pauillac, one of my favorite places. I said, why not just get one of the First Growths that are in Pauillac? Again, left bank, cab heavy. So Chateau Latour is the one I'm choosing. It's a 2014 vintage, one of the better rated First Growths in that vintage, and it's more affordable than let's say 09, 10, and some vintages of late. It's still very expensive. I have not purchased it. It's just thinking about it. I do have Ridges Montebello. I think I have a 14 of that as well that I bought a few years ago for my birthday. So if I don't buy that Latour, it could be that wine. Maybe, but or maybe I just stick it with 2 wines. I'm not sure, but thinking about it, when else am I gonna have an opportunity to try a Latour and then remember it and it be memorable, and then comparing it to a Scarecrow which is in a similar price bracket, and then Bottega Canet 2009. Actually, all three would be in a very similar price bracket for how they are priced today. So it'll be a very expensive tasting. I decided I also think I want Wagyu A5, Japanese Wagyu A5 filet mignon as the dinner, with foie gras, possibly. Side dish TBD. And yeah, so I think that's sort of been my overall idea of what 50 should look like with a wine and food pairing. So, over 10 minutes, babbled about so many things, wine related and food related, and getting older. But my steak's not getting any warmer, so I'm going to go enjoy that now. Have a good night.